When you were younger, didn't you think you had life pretty well figured out? Well, if you're like me, I didn't know crap about anything. I thought I did. It's just the truth about how life works. Because when you're young, you think you understand how life should work. But the older you get, the more life teaches you how life actually works. When I was in my 20s, I had all kinds of ideas about how things were supposed to go. I thought if you worked hard, things would naturally fall into place. I thought getting a job was simple. Somebody had a job opening and you needed a job. You apply for a job and they hire you. That's how life works, right? Well, turns out that it was a little more complicated than that. There's interviews, there's competition, there's things that happen behind the scenes that you don't ever get a chance to see. And that's just one of the many things that life had to teach me the hard way. But here's the part that really surprised me. It wasn't about jobs or careers. It was almost everything. Take money for an example. When you're young, saving money doesn't seem that important. You think you got plenty of time left and you tell yourself, I'll start saving later. But life has a funny way of correcting that thinking because later comes faster than you think. And one day you realize something. The people who saved early on are in a completely different position than the people who didn't. And that's a life lesson that was learned the hard way by a lot of men. And this is where that line I used to tell my kids comes from. I used to say to them, I've forgotten more things than you'll ever know. And you don't know half of what you think you know. They're always laughing when I've said that to them. But the older that they've gotten, the more they realize how true it is. Because life humbles you. It corrects the ideas that you had in your head about how things were supposed to work. And every time you get something wrong, life gives you another lesson. But here's the interesting part. These life lessons aren't meant to embarrass you. They're meant to teach you something. What older men eventually understand is something that younger men haven't experienced yet. And that is that life is mostly about learning through mistakes, through bad decisions, and through things that aren't going the way you expected. Every one of those moments teaches you something, and over time, those lessons start stacking up. That's where wisdom actually comes from. Not about reading about it, but from living it. So when older men say things that sound simple, it's usually because those life lessons were earned the hard way, through years of trial and error. And if there's one thing I've learned is this: the more life you experience, the more you realize how much there is left to learn. And that's not a weakness, it's how wisdom begins. See, on this channel we talk about real life lessons that eventually teach all of us, about discipline and responsibility in relationships, and the habits that shape you as a man. If that's the kind of conversation you're interested in, consider hitting the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.